Welcome to Hardback Life.
It's time for stories, sass, and strong opinions.
Let's turn the page. Welcome to another episode of Hardback Life.
It's been a minute. I feel like, Cassie, you've done what, like 2 solo episodes?
I think it was 2, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we're excited to be back together today, and we get to interview a really cool author.
Mm-hmm.
If you would introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your books.
So I am A.A. Gordon. I write paranormal romance, but I think the books we're going to be talking about are Heart of the Tithriall, which is a fantasy romance. But yeah.
I didn't know, I guess I'm just like not, Cassie's the ARC girl, so I guess I didn't know that paranormal was typically your genre of choice.
It's the genre that I wrote first. So
Okay.
so my first, 6 books are paranormal romance. They're part of the Dower series.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've written 3 books now in Heart of the Tithriall, which is
Okay.
very much fantasy.
Okay,
Yes.
I need to squirrel in side quest for a second about the paranormal romance. Is that like we're falling in love with ghosts situation?
No, it is vampires, werewolves, witches.
Okay.
There's demigods, fae in that as well.
Okay.
Technically paranormal romance, but there are fae also in that series.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I hear paranormal and I immediately think ghosts and I'm like, oh,
Most
falling in
people
love
do.
with ghosts.
People do.
It's on my list to get to. I've said this before. I've talked about your books. I did the arc for the Heart of the Tithriall 3rd book, but the other ones are on my list. I just haven't gotten to them yet, but I'm excited.
Everything is connected. So
Yes.
you'll see a lot of names and things like crossover between the series.
I can't tell you how much Cassie really has not like been quiet or shut up about your books. Like she very much enjoyed them.
I really did. Like, I really tell Becca this all the time, but like, for me, they're up there with ACOTAR. Like, I really, really enjoyed them. And I think if you liked ACOTAR, you would really like your series also.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a bigger compliment that you could give an author. Like that. Wow.
Yeah, like I just keep talking to Becca about them because nobody has read them yet because they have their own TBRs or whatever. And yours, ironically, was the first fantasy arc I'd ever signed up for. But like something about the bio, I just had to read it. Like I was so excited.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. There's no words for that. I'm so honored. Thank you.
I was going to say ACOTAR, and also like just for context, and I don't know how much you've listened to familiarize yourself with this podcast situation, but Cassie lives and breathes and eats ACOTAR. Like
It's my whole personality. It's literally all I have left of myself.
It's a lot of us. Like if you were anything like me, you took a break from fantasy for a while and then you got back into it and suddenly
Mhm.
all you read.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, fantasy was really big with me when I was a kid. And then as I got older, like I took that break. I got really much more into classics. And then our first book club's book was Powerless from that trilogy.
Yes. Yeah.
Which it's not my favorite, but it got me back into fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did enjoy Powerless. I did like
Yeah.
that series.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, it was all right. I liked the first book, and then after that, it kind of fell off for me. So, but yeah, ACOTAR got me back into fantasy. Actually, it got me back into reading. I read them all as like a mom, and then when I had my son, and then all last year, I don't think I read anything other than fantasy. Maybe like 1 or 2 books here and there. Now I've been on a fantasy strike, and I need to like reliven my fantasy passion.
I read the Zodiac Academy series.
Okay.
And if you've read that, you'll know it's emotionally devastating. And it's so
That's
ridiculous.
what I've heard.
It's ridiculous and off the wall. But once you kind of get past that, it's like crack. I don't know what they put in the pages, but it's like crack. And it's really long.
Heard that.
Exhausting. And so I had to take a break from fantasy after that. And then I started like for pretty much a solid year, I read like hockey romance and like small town.
Also, like it's hockey romance for me too.
Well, I call it a palate cleanser because like you kind of
Yes.
need sometimes a break from fantasy because fantasy can be really heavy.
Yes.
So
No, I agree. And there's something about hockey specifically over all the other sports. I don't know what it is.
I am not a hockey romance person, but I'm very much a summer camp romance person.
yes. Yep.
But
That
see,
one
she
time at
worked
summer
at
camp.
summer camp. Like, that's part of her life. Like, I have no right to like hockey. Like, I've never watched hockey. I've never dated a hockey player. Like, but I don't know what it is.
I don't know. There is something about it though. I'm the same
Right?
boat as you. I've never dated a hockey player or anything like that, and
No.
still, like, I don't know. And
I
I
don't
can't
even think
watch,
where I grew up had ice hockey.
I can't watch like real hockey games anymore because I hear the language and I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
also I firmly stand on, not to go down the hockey romance squirrel path, but I do firmly stand on, I feel like if there was a sport that Cassian from ACOTAR played, it would be hockey. Like he gives
100%.
that vibe.
Yeah,
So I
that's so true.
understand. Like Cassie is a Cassian
I've
girl.
never really thought about that, but that's so true.
Yeah,
rugby.
Cassie. Yeah, like
Rugby
Cassian
too.
gives like rugby, ice hockey. He gives like, I'm gonna go to the cabin in the woods and like chop wood,
Yeah.
with flannel on. Like that's what we're giving.
That's so
Yeah.
true.
Well, Cassie, or our author who's here, you could give a synopsis of your series. I know we wrote one out, but we would rather hear from you.
So a synopsis of Heart of the Tithriall would be that it's two best friends who end up on opposite sides of a war. Ornella is taken captive while she's trying to protect her friend Amira by a wild hunt. And of course, she finds her mate among the riders, which complicates things.
Yeah, she does.
She kind of tries to infiltrate them and like take them down, the enemy down from the inside. Amira meets a griffin who turns out to be a lot more, and then she ends up going to a place called the Vale, which is it's like a portal fantasy. There's a lot more there's a lot of characters and a lot of politics and war and stuff like that.
I would love that. I tell Cassie all the time when we talk about fantasy, I love the war. Like that's my
Yeah.
I know, that's why I keep
bones.
trying to get you to read this.
This is like nobody's really right and nobody's really wrong. So there's kind of like you don't really know who to root for. So it can be really like as they like deal blows to one another, you're like not sure who to root for.
You're like, knock it off. You both are right in your
Yes.
own ways.
Yeah,
Be nice to each
exactly.
other.
It
And
like
it's kind
hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and because they are like they can't reconcile their differences, right? Because one person has to seemingly lose their home. So it's like they're both. There's no right or wrong answer, really.
Yeah.
That just
And
sounds like it would rip my heart in half.
That's the idea.
There are moments where like I'm so happy, and then moments where I'm like, no, I don't know if I can keep doing this.
You guys are really selling the emotional damage.
It does. I remember messaging you after I finished the third one, and I was like, that was not okay.
That was not very nice. I got a lot of those messages after book 2 because that one was
Okay.
pretty rough.
It was, but I was able to go right into book 3.
So
Now I have to wait.
People who were reading with me, and unfortunately I'm not one of these authors who can pump out a book every 3 or 4 months. I take a year to like get, and yeah, so a lot of people were like gnawing on the the bars of their cages.
Yeah.
Where is this book? So yeah.
No, so between the first and the second, I put a couple books to like, because I was just reading it so fast. I put a couple books to like give myself time to enjoy it, because that's what I tend to do is like I devour series that I really enjoy. So I really try to spread them out. But between the second and the third, I could not. I was like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get right into this.
You can't quit there. Like that is
No.
Yeah.
So how many more are you planning on writing?
Just one more. So there's going to be 4.
It'll be 4.
It'll be 4 total. Yeah.
Have you started writing?
I have maybe 100 pages written. So not a lot, considering they're like, 600-700 page books.
Yeah.
But it's more for me. So I take a break during the summer and what I call marinate the next book. So I tend to do most of my writing in the fall and in the winter. And then, yeah. So.
Honestly, that makes so much sense. I feel like the fall and the winter, especially the winter, is like when things get cold out and gross and daylight savings, and everybody just gets depressed and hates their lives. So like, why not fall right into a fantasy?
You're in Canada, right? So it's like real winter up there.
We get, a lot of snow. And I'm also like, I have a little, what we call a little townstead. We've got chickens and like a lot of gardens and stuff. So the summer I'm really busy. So I tend to just kind of sound like a crazy person in my own head, but like I go over scenes and I talk to myself a lot and during the summer, and then come winter, I really know what I want to write.
That's really cool. So do you not know how you're going to end this series yet? God.
I don't. No, and because I'm what I think they call a pantser. So like I don't know what I'm gonna write until I sit down to start. And the characters very much feel like they drive it. So I had no idea that was gonna happen to Sage at the end of book 2 until like probably like 50 pages before, and then it was like it clicked and it all made sense. So yeah.
Do you ever just like sit back while you're writing and just like cry when you know, like, oh my gosh, like this is what's gonna happen. It just makes sense, but I don't want to do it, but it just is the way that it needs to be.
I definitely feel some confliction because I kind of have a sense of how, I don't know exactly how book 4 is going to end, but I'm scared to do.
Yeah,
With how book 3 ended, I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous.
Did it end on a cliff?
Yeah.
Kind of. It was,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something you knew was coming, so you but you didn't know how it was coming.
Yeah. You knew that, I don't know, like, I guess you haven't read it, so we can't really, but yeah, like, you knew she was going to have to deal with this problem, but
eventually
it came about. Yeah.
Can I know the problem?
He has a very terrible family who were very abusive, and like it goes beyond abuse. Like they have a very misogynistic structure, and she gets betrayed and basically gets sent back to them. And you knew she was going to have to deal with her father and everything, but the way that it happened was but of course the betrayal, it's again that where there's no right or no wrong, the betrayal comes from somebody who is acting to save their own loved ones.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are mad at him.
I gotta say, I'm still mad at him. Like I know, but I'm still mad.
But you have to think. So this is what I love about this series, because if we have both perspectives of the good guys and the bad guys, right? For each, like they're each other's bad guys, right? So if you only had Reardon's perspective, you would be rooting for him because he just accomplished what would be impossible. Like he somehow managed to outsmart Rian and like neutralize Rian's power to get Amira back. So, and Orion. But if you were just reading from their perspective, that would be an incredible feat. But because we have Rian and our perspective, you're like, no.
This is actually an incredible like concept for a book, is like to be able to have both of those perspectives. I think that's like,
because honestly, the thing is, what
in real life, that's what we're missing.
Like everybody thinks they're the good guy, and the one you're reading, the POVs you're reading are by the end the good guys. They've so it's so interesting to have both sides, and you want to root for both sides, but one of them has to technically give or concede.
It's a lot of people have been saying it's a little bit like miscommunication, and there is to a degree. However, think about if they actually sit down in the same room and have a conversation, there's still there's not an easy way out of this.
Yeah.
Like somebody, like just because of the nature of what's going on. So
yeah, and it's not miscommunication. Like I know some people don't love that trope, but it's very different than like the romantic miscommunication.
Yeah, no, none of that.
It's if anything, there's
like a lot of communication. Which is why I love Sage, because I mean, you get a lot of red flag guys in books, and they have their place, and I love them. But the green flag guys are underrepresented.
They are, and Sage, the first scene where they like really admit that they at least physically have a connection, and I have never consent. Always get consent, always. But I've never understood consent is sexy until that scene, and I was like, all right, Sage, all right,
yeah.
You guys are really selling this. Like I'm very intrigued. Like Cassie tries to sell me books all the time, and not that let me give a little back comment here. My friend Cassie here and our other really good friend Sarah, they always yell at me because they're like, you never read the books that we tell you to read. Why don't you trust your friends?
So read a book talk book before she reads a book I've suggested.
It's just, I don't have an excuse. I'm not going to give an excuse. I am who I am.
To those like one-liners in a TikTok, and you're like, okay, now I have to read that.
Yeah.
Correct. But I don't think that there's ever been an interview or like a conversation outside of this one that has like really convinced me. This one's really convincing me. I think I'm gonna go
so
download it.
good. It's so good.
It may be the way it I can't speak today. It may be the way back into my fantasy heart.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. And the thing is, it is fantasy, but there's also so many things that are different about it. Like we said, the dual, I mean, it's multi points of view, but like with both sides. I think the magic system is really interesting, like how connected they need to be to the earth and nature for that. Like I love.
Well, and it takes place in the autumn court, and
Mhm.
like autumn is my favorite. Like I love the fall. That is my favorite like vibe, I guess. And for me, it's the fated mate, like because there's a lot of fated mates, right?
Mhm.
But I tried to do something different. So in my story, fated mates are connected through their first breath. So
I
when
love
you
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you take your first breath, that essence of what's called the Tithriall, which is what basically moves through all living things between worlds and stuff like that, which is what the Fae are connecting to through nature, right? That essence, like you share that essence with your mate. And it can be across, worlds and stuff like that. So yeah, which I thought was
Here's a question for your world, your system situation here. So say I am born, right, at my first breath, but my mate's not born yet.
then
You
they're
wouldn't
not
be
your
mates.
mate. They
You
have
don't have to marry you don't have to be with your mate, but there is somebody out there that you took the same first breath
you
with.
have to so you're the exact same age. So you
Mhm.
know they're your mate because they are born at the exact same moment that you are.
So in Ornella's court, where
That
she
would be
comes
cool.
from, they use that against girls. Like they really plan like when a female's gonna take her first breath, and like it's like
They
torture.
actually
Yeah.
they put them in stasis. Like
Mhm.
infant girls are put in stasis before they take their first breath to force bonds to, because females become like an asset, right? Because female dryads are more powerful than the male dryads, and the male dryads harness their
Yeah,
power.
they are.
Yeah.
Listen, the patriarchy lives on. It never goes away.
And I can't wait for Ornella to deal with it in book 4.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how that goes. I'm so excited.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into writing in the first place, like your writing journey. What inspired you to be a writer? Did you have a career before you were a writer? Is this your full time? Do you have a part time job on the side situation?
So I wrote my first book when I was 11.
Love.
Oh,
I've always written. From like grade 8 through to grade 12, I would come to school with like these massive binders of like, and then I would edit in my quiet times and share with people that were reading the stories at the time. And I did try to publish a couple of times, but I was actually told this was over 10 years ago. And I was told at the time that fantasy was more of a man's genre, which is actually, this was before ACOTAR and everything, right? Like this was, so yeah. So that's what I was told. And so that's why my pen name is A.A. Gordon, like a
Okay.
non-gendered name, right? And that's just kind of stuck. I would probably prefer to not do that now, but it's just what it is now. But I work part-time. I own a business with my husband, and I write part-time. So that's kind of, I have like a farmstead and like, yeah.
It's like the best of both worlds. Eventually, one day, Cassie and I have the dreams of like having like a bookstore and having that be a part time job, and then part time doing whatever else, our actual careers on the side.
Yeah. No, I love it. I do. I would like to write more, but
Mhm.
not there quite yet.
No, hey, it takes time. You have single handedly impressed Cassie equally to ACOTAR. I think you've achieved what you need to do in your career.
Yeah. Well, what I need to do now is convince more people.
Yes.
That's to get it out there, right?
That's so fair. That's so fair. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Go ahead, Cassie. I had a question and then it went away.
Do you have a specific writing ritual? Like where you do it? Do you listen to music?
I'm a big music person, and
Okay.
I just like, so if I'm writing a sad scene, then I'm listening to sad music. If I'm writing a war scene, then I'm listening to like Viking drums. Like that's kind of how I do that. And I like to write. There's a local coffee shop that I write at. Otherwise, I usually write in my office here or in my backyard.
Okay.
What was the inspiration behind this whole series? Where did this come from?
So the ironic part of that is these characters originally started out as the villains for characters in the Dower series.
Mm.
Wow. Okay.
I had intended to write a completely different book. And again, like how I said, sometimes I don't know what I'm going to write until I'm writing it. This just came out, and there's really no like real rhyme or reason for it. I in terms of inspiration, like I do take in a lot of stuff, but I couldn't point to anything particular that inspired it or anything like
No,
that.
I love that you had like the little bit of inspiration of
Yeah.
like these were supposed to be villains for another series that you had
Yeah.
going on and other
I
books
think-
you had going on. That's really
I think,
neat.
like, I knew about the Fae courts and how they worked from the other book, but I hadn't explored the Fae very deeply because they were in a different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just felt the urge that I wanted to explore that more. And people who've read the Dower series will recognize Cian O'Doone's name because he's a character in the Dower series. So, you know, like, it just spiraled from there.
Might have just had to move that up my list a little bit.
She's in. She's sold. You don't have to.
I'm there.
She's
Cian
there.
is,
She's in
Cian
it.
is definitely a red flag guy.
Yeah.
We love a red flag. That's literally until my husband, who's a golden retriever, I dated all red flag men. So
Oh my gosh.
actually, no, that's a lie. I had a few the other ones. They just weren't for me, you know?
So with this series specifically, I feel like romance is a key part of it, but you also have so much going on. Like you said, there's multiple characters that get their point of view across.
Yeah.
Multiple, like, I don't want to say worlds because it's the same world, but different parts of the world, I guess. How do you manage doing all of that? Like, how do you manage? And you do it so well. Like, I don't feel like anything falls by the wayside at any point.
So I think, like, in terms of the romance,
Yeah. How do you just balance it all? Like, it's not over. The romance is not overkill. You know what I mean?
so that is very intentional because one
Mhm.
thing that drives me crazy when I'm reading a book is if plot or character development are sacrificed for the sake of the romance. So I tried to make the romance feel a little more natural, and the plot came first as much as possible. Like, Ornella falls for Sage because he proves that he's always going to choose her when nobody else has ever put her first before, right? Amira falls for Reardon because he's protective and she's never felt safe. But he's also, there's kind of an innocence to him that also feels
Mhm.
safe for her because she's experienced violence. She could have never fallen for Orion first because
No.
that just would not. So she needed to have her confidence built before she could get there. So I think for me, the romance it's a tool for character development, not the other way around.
Okay. And that is probably like if somebody were to ask me my favorite part of the series is the character development. Like I
Yeah.
love these characters and I've said it before, like I love that they all come from some sort of like pretty severe trauma, but they're not broken. They still get to do really cool things. They still get to fight for what they think is right. And they're not, okay, this is going to sound like shade to ACOTAR, but everybody knows I love it. They're not like in the bathroom vomiting and doing nothing. Like they're still doing a lot of stuff. Like,
And even when they are kind of broken, like Nuala is pretty devastated in book 2.
yeah,
But I think what I really tap into the female rage aspect of it, and they use
yes.
the hurt as a weapon, right?
Yes.
So they still keep moving forward no matter what they have to do that.
Yeah, I love that their lives didn't stop because of their trauma. Like they kept doing, Noella specifically is like such a badass from the second she is removed. Like she had a lot. Like she's coming from a lot and she deserved a couple weeks of rest, but she didn't take it.
No.
And
It's
I love
giving, it's giving Aelin. It's reminding how you guys are describing it is reminding me of Aelin. I mean, I think Aelin can fall a little bit more into like the really like getting into like her trauma, but yeah, it's very much reminding me of that. And like when you made the comment about one character who like fell in love with somebody first and then had to fall in love with somebody else after, like same by like she had to fall in love with Sam and then she fell in love with Rowan. Like you're really just like hitting the SJM world, really. Like you're just bringing it all up to mine.
To be clear though, she kept the first one.
I was just gonna say that.
So it's a throuple situation. So that's something I've never seen SJM do.
No. And I gotta tell you, I was
Wow.
so nervous because I must have missed that on the list of like tropes or whatever. So I was kind of nervous going
Like,
into
oh
the
no, this older man's moving in.
Yeah, I was like, I have never read like a threesome or like anything like that. So I was like, oh, I don't know. But I think it was done well. Like I kind of liked the way it's introduced.
So
Is there
play-
open door?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
I'm in.
So,
That's it. That's all it took.
The story is that Orion, without giving too much of spoilers, Orion and Reardon, Griffins create what are called skia bonds. So the males form these bonds when they enter the military, and well, the elite griffins do, the Anatheos. But so he formed this bond with Orion, and there's a lot of politics around there that I won't get into. But so Orion's been in love with Rearden for like 100 years or whatever. Then Rearden chooses Amira for his mate, and like Orion at first is very jealous, and like they have a very contentious relationship. So he is the red flag in that situation for some time until they kind of sort it out. But yeah, it's
What
so
she sounds like one lucky gal with two
yes,
yeah,
men.
and two very different men,
very
which is like
different
kind
men.
of the
All complement
kind
each
of
other
best.
very well, right? Because
Yeah.
Rearden is an elite griffin, so he has like a sense of like he walks into any room and is the boss, right? Whereas Orion was like he grew up as a like on the streets basically.
Mm.
So they're both very, very different personalities, and they complement. All three of them complement each other really well.
Wow, this is really. I actually don't even know if I've heard of a book that has like touched on the thruple situation.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I
I'm sure
know.
they're out there, but
Yeah, I know there are some like ice hockey why choose ones, but
Yes.
not like not like this.
I think I haven't seen it in like romance or sorry, not in
Yeah.
romance, in fantasy, because
I agree.
at least not
Because
that I
the
can
fated mates are such a big
right.
thing.
But in this case, they're both her fated mate. Like it is,
Mhm.
they're still, so yeah.
Yeah.
well, I touched on this a little bit. Kind of a little bit earlier, but the next question we were going to ask was, were there any emotionally difficult parts for you to write? And I kind of touched on that earlier when I was like, I'm sure that there are times where you sit down and you like cry as you figure out what's going to happen. So are there any that particularly, without giving like too much spoiler,
Yeah.
were there any that are particularly difficult to write?
So I would say that anything to do with Orion or Nuala's backstory is gut wrenching.
Mhm.
And anytime that Orion was being cruel to Amira,
Mm.
or when Rian was rejecting Nuala as his mate, that was like anytime she reaches for him and he like shuts her down, that is hard to write. But yeah.
Really wasn't sure when she was introduced how he was going to feel about her, but
Yeah.
she grew on me.
Yeah, she is like she's black. She's not like morally gray. She is like
Mhm.
morally black at times, but she does have a conscience. But what I like about her is she wants what she wants, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
can't
like my kind of girl.
Yeah, her childhood, it got me a little
yeah.
bit. So like I can imagine writing that being a
Okay,
hard
but
one.
here's the thing. Very emotionally heavy book. Like a lot of this
Very-
sounds like very good, but I need to make sure I'm like
It
singing up
is.
here.
It is, but Becca, I almost feel like it would be good for you because of the way they go about it. Like they're not living necessarily in their trauma. Like they're trying to address it head on and move through it, if that makes sense.
Okay, well,
I'd say the only two people who haven't really addressed their trauma yet, and we don't know how that's going to go, would be Rian and Nuala. And it's mostly because they're both asking something of one another that neither of them are prepared to give.
Mhm.
And so they're at an impasse. So until they figure out how to communicate and move forward, that's
is
where
it
they're
all for your characters? Is it all trauma from like their childhood, or is it like ongoing, like things that have happened throughout the series as
it's
well?
mostly childhood stuff.
Okay.
Mhm.
And some like adversity, like so like Orion is the lower class of Griffins. He faces like a lot of racism and that kind of thing. Like I use racism, but
Yeah.
it's like classism.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of that kind of thing, but mostly I'd say it's like past trauma that
Okay.
you do get Nuala like fresh out of her trauma, and that's worth trigger warnings because
Mm.
her like pulling her they've literally pulled her out of a prison
Yeah.
and she's been like assaulted and abused and like terribly, like she's in rough shape. So
Mhm.
PTSD hashtag.
Yeah.
Like,
very much so. Yeah.
which is
But-
actually like probably very interesting because I think talking about like the reintegrating like after trauma is such a big conversation. So I would be really interested. All right,
Like
I'm
I said
sold.
before,
No
she
need
deserved
for-
like a week off and she didn't take it.
Yeah. No. There's moments where the characters show physiological reactions to like stress
Mhm.
that they act like that they consciously try to control. Like Nuala and Ornella both do like the
Mhm.
kind of like shrink into themselves when something becomes. So yeah, they definitely deal with trauma, but it's there. It's in
Yeah.
the real.
And my favorite, like, I love that they all think they're so good at hiding it that they are like hiding how upset or how much something bothers them, and the other people are like, no, I know that. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Like, they call each other out all the time.
My favorite was Kieran and Ornella in the last book. He's just like, eat. He's like shoving food and water down her throat, and she's like,
I loved it. And it took her a long time, but she was like, why won't I just want to be alone? And like then comes to realize like why they won't leave her alone. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Wow,
that.
it sounds like this person did everything that they should do for that character, and
No,
vice versa
real.
with Tamlin leaving Feyre in the bathroom to vomit by herself.
Literally.
He does force her to run, and that makes her vomit. So,
Yeah. That's fair. That's true.
and the writers had different ways of helping her deal with it. Like Rian brought a bottle of wine, and
Yes.
then Kieran's like putting her up in the morning to go for a run. So yeah, the fact that they had different ways of dealing with it and helping her was funny.
I love that. That's like the family. That part made me emotional more than I think other like more out there ones, because it's just the family she's always needed, you know, and she never got. And then having these men who she started as their captive, now treating her like their sister. Like, I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a very strong found family vibe with this
Cool.
series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so do you have a favorite character?
Stop. I need to know that.
So it's got to be either Rian or Ornella. I relate really hard to those two characters for different reasons. But yeah, that's got to be my favorites.
Okay, I like that.
I need to know, who is your favorite character?
Probably Ornella.
Yeah. She's a lot.
Yeah, she grew on. At first, she really wasn't. Like, I was like, she gave me more Aelin vibes at the beginning because she was like so to herself and like knew she was hot shit. And that was just, I was like, I don't love that. But as she's like grown in and recognized it, I was like, okay.
Well, and I think you start to realize that as Sage does, right?
Yes.
And like that is totally thanks to Karek. He he opens his eyes to the fact that her defensive and sort of like the way that she's so like prickly, and it's a self-protection mechanism, right? Because she's had yeah. So yeah, when he starts to realize that that's what's going on, and she tests people to see whether she's safe with them or not, right? And once you figure that out, it's like, okay, and that softens as she starts to trust other people.
Yeah. I also really like Orion.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what, like, he is such an ass at times, but like, I love him.
Were your characters inspired by real people? Or maybe not like originally, but like as you write them, like things that have happened to them, things like that.
So not by real people.
Okay.
But I do, like, I did study a little bit of psychology in university.
Mm-hmm.
And I do use the Enneagram.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to spell it, but I can't pronounce it. Enneagram to build out my characters.
Cool.
So I do. So in that sense, they are kind of real, but I don't base them on real people in my life. I think that would be. I think because of the nature of the trauma,
Yeah.
Hard to base them on people and I also don't like to do that because if I'm writing a story and suddenly I realize that somebody's going to betray somebody else or whatever to them then I feel like, and especially if people know they're based on people, then
that's so fair. I've never thought about that.
Because I never know what characters are going to do. Like I had no idea that Riordan was going to do that in the end of book 3 until it was like, oh no, that all makes sense. The minute I introduced those dryads in the Vale, I was like, oh, okay, that's how this is gonna. I knew he was gonna get her back, but I didn't know how. So
yeah.
I
was hoping she'd get released first.
Yeah, waited a couple of
2 hours.
My goodness.
So you had sent a couple questions that readers had asked on like a Q&A that you did on Instagram. We did already get the answer to one, which was how many books are in the series. And you said there's going to be one more. The favorite character, that was already one. And the third one, we already did. I didn't even realize Becca threw them in without me noticing. So the third one was, are any characters inspired by real people? So those 3 were from your Q&A that you had. Yeah.
Really do like I really know how to weasel the questions in without you even realizing I'm following
Yeah,
the
I didn't even realize.
She's
Like, I knew those were on
stereotyping.
there. I just didn't see that happening that way.
I'll be like, ooh, this is a good spot. Let me just slide that question right in there. Oh, go
So
ahead,
you
Cassie.
you have your paranormal and this fantasy. Do you think one was easier or harder to write, or did you face different challenges with them?
Do you prefer writing one or the other?
There are pros and cons to both. Like when you're writing in the real world, there's less research to do in some ways, but also you're limited by like very real things in our world. A fantasy book is a little easier because you can kind of make up whatever you want, but there's a lot more research that has to go into it because you have to make sure that what you're making still kind of makes some kind of sense. So there's pros and cons. I don't think I like both. And I think there's a lot of like the elements that I like about fantasy, I put into my paranormal romance. So there are fated mates, are, like stuff like that. There's a lot of like politics and stuff. Like it's not like a hockey romance. Like there's a lot. These worlds are all interconnected. So it really didn't feel like I was writing something different because like it's the same universe. So yeah, I guess the short answer is I don't really have a favorite, I don't think.
Do you find that you gravitate towards writing one or the other during certain times?
Probably different times. I do think I will go back and forth between a series if I need like a palate cleanser. So there's another series that I'm writing that hasn't started coming out yet, and it's like Dragon Shifters. So it's very much a fantasy. It's kind of like Heart of the Tithriall, but takes place in yet another world, and it's very political, and it's kind of like a Game of Thrones. Like if the Targaryens were the Dragon Shifters, kind of like that.
Okay.
So I'd say fantasy. If I was gonna I'd say fantasy is my preference.
Okay.
So this is kind of a side question. We didn't talk about what we were reading at the beginning, but
yeah, we didn't.
You have a genre you tend to read more. If you write fantasy and paranormal, do you tend to read a lot more fantasy, a lot more or just a mix?
It's a pretty good mix. So I will read. I haven't read a lot of paranormal recently.
Mm-hmm.
Read a lot of fantasy, and I do like a palate cleanser of small town romance or hockey romance or something like that. But yeah, it's primarily so me and my husband actually just got finished with Throne of Glass. He had never read Throne of Glass, so we listened to it on audio, and he's obsessed with it now, which is awesome. And right now we're listening to the 5th season. I can't remember. It's a very I've never heard of it before, but it's really good. It's like a post-apocalyptic kind of world.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you read all 3 SJM series?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so this is just Becca and I differ here, but how would you rank them?
Gosh, well, Throne of Glass is easily number 1.
Okay.
Just because every character was like flawless, and
okay.
Even if they were flawed, the character development was amazing. Then I would say ACOTAR because of I still love the fantasy aspects and the romance. And then I'd say Crescent City is after that.
Wait, Cassie, what is your current ranking? We haven't talked about this in a hot minute.
Mine is still ACOTAR first. It just gets me. But Crescent City is a really close second. I put Throne of Glass on the bottom.
Really?
I hate to say it, but I thought Throne of Glass was overhyped. And Aelin was not that Feyre is my favorite, but I didn't love Aelin most of the time, to be honest.
So it's so funny. This is where Cassie and I disagree. Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't necessarily, I think, put Throne of Glass as a whole series, as my number 1 out of the 3 series.
Oh.
But I very much align with what you said, and I feel like that the character development was what really got me. I think Cassie and I have had a conversation about this. I just think that there was so much hype specifically on Kingdom of Ash, where people were like, it's gonna kill you, you're gonna be in tears, and I didn't experience that harsh of emotions with it, which I was surprised about.
The only thing that got me was, and I'll probably say his name wrong, I don't ever say names correctly, Gavriel. Yeah, he got me. But to be fair, my dad died a couple years ago. So any dad dying tends to set me off, But that's the only thing emotionally that wrecked me, I think.
For me, it was the 13. That got me.
That's true. I did cry at the 13.
Yeah.
I cry at flash
Listen,
mobs though, so
The
You can't
13 was really good. That one really got me. I really liked Aylin's character development. So, yeah, this is probably going to surprise Cassie, but I think my current ranking would be hate this.
no, you'd
My
rather
current-
rank the books than the series.
I'd rather rank the books than the
That
series
makes sense.
because
I can see that.
yeah. So like I was actually going to ask you this question, what your like 6-star fantasy book is that you have read, since you are a fantasy reader. And that's, I think, why it's hard for me to rank the series, because my 6-star fantasy book is House of Flame and Shadow.
Okay, yeah.
Specifically because of whatever, people listen to our podcast, they know we talk about it. Spoiler alert, skip ahead a few seconds if you don't want to hear me say it. The combination and integration of Bryce and Nesta absolutely
Love.
was top tier like that. So Silver Flames was like my top 6-star fantasy read, purely because of Nessa's character development, the depression she goes through, the substance use, like all of the things. And then when Bryce came into the picture and then they smacked them together, and I was like, you can't beat this. And I think why I have a hard time ranking the series is because I do not like the first book in the Crescent City series. I am a hater.
I did like the end. The end,
I
like
loved
the
all of
last
it.
like quarter of it was really good. I really
I
liked
loved
it.
all of it.
The only part that really ever stuck with me in that one was when we got to the point where you find out that there was the murder that occurred. And then other than that, like that book, I was like, oh my God, you're like dragging me behind a slow like car. Like I just like, I couldn't do it. Like it was just, and then 2 and 3 were great. They were great.
Would say Flame and Shadow and Silver Flames would be your choices.
Her like
Those would be my
6
6
stars,
stars. Yeah.
So for me, gosh, I did really like, I think Queen of Shadows is probably like the top,
Okay.
closely followed by Air of Fire.
I loved Air of Fire.
We loved Air of Fire.
That was my favorite. I loved that somebody finally punched Aelin in the face. That was probably the
Normally, I don't advocate for women like getting hit, but
yeah.
she
No,
was
me either.
kind of deserve that one.
Let's be clear. We do not want women to get hit.
No.
And then I think in like I would say Mist and Fury. Like I love Mist and
Yep.
Fury.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's just kind of those are probably like my 3 like top favorites by SJM. I would
Is
say.
there what is your like 6-star fantasy read like overall? Like best, because like I would say House of Flame and Shadow is probably my 6-star, not just in the SJM world, but like overall. What is
You know,
yours?
look at my bookshelves here.
I have to do that sometimes too.
I mean, I really like. I'm more about like I could tell you like When the Moon Hatched was really.
I've heard amazing things about it. It is in my Kindle. I just have not gone down that rabbit hole.
Direbound was really good, but
Never heard
That's
that one.
one that yeah.
I really liked Direbound. I've heard bad things about Furybound, but we'll see. I haven't got to it yet. What other ones were there? I do really like Fourth Wing. I don't know. I don't know if it's a 6-star read, but I did enjoy it. Anything by Holly Black, really. Like,
Okay, yeah.
You really I haven't read her yet, but Becca really likes
I
Holly Black.
love Cruel Prince
Yes.
and the Stolen Heir and the Prisoner's Throne and all that. Love those.
I just opened the Stolen Heir.
Yes.
Does it deliver as well as Cruel Prince series?
Probably not.
That's just upsetting.
But I mean,
I knew you were going to
that's my
say that.
opinion. So don't like not read it because of that.
No, I'll read it.
Yeah.
I loved the Cruel Prince
Have
series.
you read
You know what I really enjoyed, which is not fantasy, was Bryn Weaver's Butcher and Blackbird.
Okay, I
I've
have
heard
not yet.
really good things
read
about
that.
that one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It was so fun. It was just funny. Like I didn't think I would enjoy like a serial killer
Mhm.
book, but
I love a good thriller.
I loved it. Like
All right, I might have to add that. Have you read Harry Potter at any
Yeah.
point?
yes,
My 6-star would
Question is
be
that?
you haven't?
classics. Yeah,
For a fantasy, I have read Harry Potter. What are you
Not
talking
all of
about?
Not all of them.
No, not all of them, but I've still
Oh,
read
what do you
Harry
mean?
Potter.
Anyway, Alchemized. I did not read Alchemized, but I read the fan fiction Manacled. Yeah, that easily 6-star. I mean, obsessed. I was obsessed.
I read 80% of it,
Mhm.
and it was the emotional damage was such that like
It's a lot.
I'm trying to gear myself up to it to finish it. I do have Alchemized, but I haven't.
It's so worth it.
But I read Manacled.
Yeah. I have
So,
not. Since reading Manacled, the ending, I'm like, okay, I could see a second one. Like, she left room for it if she wanted to. Doesn't have to, but could. But I know she can't do it now in the Harry Potter universe. So I'm like, should I read the actual publicized one so that I know the characters? But
right.
I don't know.
I have it, but I haven't read it yet. I did
Yeah.
read most of Manacled. So
I loved it.
it's on my list of like things to come back to, but
Yeah.
it was intense. So I had to take
Especially the middle. Like, so my mom's a big reader. And when I told her to read it, I said, break it into 3 books. Like, part 1 is like before all the memories. Then part 2 is the memories. Part 3 is the after. And I was like, you're going to need time after the second one when all of her memories come rushing back. Like, so give yourself a break after that.
that makes sense.
Yeah. But that would be my 6 star.
Yeah. No,
Aside
that's a
from
really
like Mist and Fury. And yours.
I think our last like formal question we had for you, now that we just went off on an entire tangent there, what is something that as a writer you wish that interviewers would ask you?
what's next?
Ooh.
That is, I think, a really good question.
Okay, wait. So what's next?
That was my way of getting like one really good question in there.
Thank you for asking. So I'm finishing the last book in Heart of the Tithriall,
Mm-hmm.
which will be next year sometime that'll come out. And then I have a couple more books to write in the Dower series because everything's interconnected. So I couldn't finish that series until I knew how this one was going to end.
Okay.
So then
How many books are in that series?
right now, I think there's 6. Yes.
Okay, you are
6.
writing early.
I like to write. And I like to write big books, which is to my detriment because they take forever. So so I have a couple more to write in that series to finish that off. And then both of those 2 series are done. And then I have my Dragon Shifter series that I'm really excited about. So
I'm
When are
very
you-
excited. That sounds so good.
Yeah, when are you hoping that that's going to come down the line, like publishing wise?
it'll probably be a couple years out because it takes me, I really wish that I was an author that could pump books out super fast, but that's just not me. So it'll be a couple of years.
It's hard. Like, I dabble, and I use this term so lightly, but like, I dabble in writing, and I am writing like something like very much true to like my life. Like, it's just kind of based on like things I've been through, and even that's hard. So like, how people can turn out these books so much, I don't understand.
You turn off the perfectionism because
Yeah.
me publishing my first book took forever because I was scared to do it. But and as you publish, you learn that like every book, you just get better. And
Yeah.
So yeah, I
don't see writing in my I don't see writing a novel in my future. I think the one thing I would love to do eventually is probably to release like a poetry book. That's what I like to write, and I feel good at that. I'm not a story writer. Like, I like to read them. I'm not a creator of the stories, you know? It's not.
poetry is tricky because so for me it's like I struggle to be concise, and poetry is beautiful because it is decisive and like it's just concise, and I struggle with that so much.
I enjoy poetry for exactly that reason. Is I can get as much out of a 1-page poem that I could a 700-page novel if you write it the right way and it just hits. And I think that's like outstanding. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's probably one day in my future. I had poems. I had a whole document on my computer, and then it got deleted.
Gosh,
It was a sad day.
that just
It
gave me
was-
like PTS flashbacks. When I was like 16, I had about 1,500 pages on
no.
and we sent the computer to have a bug fixed, and the books were gone when I got it back. Yeah.
No.
I would have just silently cried myself to sleep. I can't believe you handwrite. That's like literally
do.
insane.
I did.
I went up. So this was because when I was that age, I used to stay up late and write because I'm the oldest of 6 kids. So it was the most quiet time in the house. I literally remember running up the stairs to my mom's bedroom and like collapsing next to her bed and being like, they're all gone. And she was like,
No.
who are you talking? Like, she was freaked out because she thinks I'm talking about a person. And then as soon as I explained it was my book,
That's devastating.
she was like, oh, you're fine. I'm like,
No.
but yeah, so
That is
anyway.
devastating. All right. So we do always try to play a game in our episode.
Okay.
And I I always try to name them. They're not that good. I'm not that good at naming them, but this one's called Tithriall Hot Seat.
Love
So
it.
I'm going to ask you questions and you have to tell us which character
Okay.
fits this the best.
Do you want an explanation or do you want just an answer?
Nope, you can explain it.
Okay.
Which character would be the worst roommate?
So it would be a tie between Rian and Ornella. Rian because of all the drinking, smoking, and fornicating. And Ornella because she's kind of lazy and she'd probably never do the dishes. So
when I wrote that, I had the same two in my brain. Be the best roommate
for the emotional support that he provides, and probably Amira because she's very level-headed and kind, and she'd just be easy to get along with, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. I was thinking Sage, but just because I have a crush on him, honestly, probably.
I feel like, so everybody always says that, and my thought is Sage is obsessed with Ornella, so like, nobody else has a chance.
That's so true.
Completely unavailable man in my house, right?
Like, darn, that's true, I guess.
It's like Rhysand. Like, he's completely unavailable. He's obsessed with Feyre.
Yeah, but I don't want Rhysand.
Cassian is not available either. He is obsessed with Nesta.
Yeah.
Stop.
He told her to put her hands on the headboard. That is a man who knows what he wants, okay?
Let me have my imaginary scenario, okay?
Once you tell a woman to put her hands on the headboard, that should be your mate, and if it's not, you're doing something wrong, okay?
I hate that. Who would survive longest in a horror movie?
That's a good question.
It would be Rian, because he would just kill. He would just consume. Even if it was a pathogen, he could literally just consume it. That's the nature of his power. So,
ooh, that's cool power.
He can absorb magic, organic material, or like people, everything. Like he can just consume.
Whoa.
And it fuels his magic. Yeah, he's very powerful.
It's so cool.
I want to have that power.
It's so cool.
It's very scary because when he loses his temper, it can be dangerous. So that's the only downside to it.
Oh.
I was thinking him or Orion just for like sheer bullheadedness.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that too. I did consider some of the Griffins. Like I did think about Reardon because Reardon would organize people and have like everything would be really like militarized. But then like Rian would just get rid of the threat. So
no, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
Who would you not want to meet in a dark alley?
So okay. There's none of the characters that would just off you for no reason. But if you pissed someone off and you had to meet them in a dark alley, it would be Nuala. I wouldn't want to meet with her because her anger doesn't have a leash. It can be scary, but you can logic with him. He's very reasonable for the most part. Nuala, if she's angry, she's just angry. And yeah. So I'd say
I thought too.
Yeah, for sure.
Who would you trust to plan your wedding?
Sophia.
Yes, I didn't even think of her.
Sophia, because she planned Amira's and it was perfect. Yeah. I did think, well, maybe Sophia and Reardon because they were both responsible. But I think Reardon, his contribution would have been more specific to Amira because he knew her. So it would be Sophia because I think she did a good job of,
I think so too. I also don't think we gave enough credit to that character because I love her. Yes. And her whole backstory. Like, I adore her.
Yeah, especially the reveal in book 3 about where she's come from. And
I love that.
Yeah.
If you could steal one thing from your world that you created, what would it be?
Fated mates.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
And I like how you did it too through the first.
So the real question is do you believe that your husband would be your fated mate?
Well, we're not the same age, so
they can take their first breath together.
Yeah. But I like to think so, yes.
If you did take your first breath together.
Yeah. In that case, yes.
Yeah. If the main characters were in a group chat together, who would cause the most chaos in that group?
It would be Ornella, strictly because she would be antagonizing Kieran the whole time. Like,
and he just is the most chaotic, I feel like, in the best way. But
Ornella is giving, at least to me as like an outside listener to this conversation, is giving like Nesta. Like,
I love her. I could see them being friends for sure.
I could see they would hate each other at first, but then once they figured each other out, they'd be okay.
It's like Bryce and Nesta.
Nesta, Bryce, and Ornella would definitely like go to a club together.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that.
All right, and last one. Describe the series in 3 emojis.
This is a fun question. I like that one.
This is a really good question. Sword, the sword, a bandaged heart, and maybe an autumn leaf.
I love that. I feel like that's actually perfect. All 3 of those.
We'll
Yeah.
use the emojis when we post about the episode.
Yeah, I'll put them up there somewhere.
That's amazing.
I love that. We also like to share our favorite quote, but do you have a favorite quote from the books?
That's a good question. I have a lot of favorite quotes.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Kieran's quote, "You fell hard, brother," when he's talking about Sage. I don't know, there's just something about that like, yeah.
Family really gets me in these books.
Yeah.
It really
There's
does.
there's a lot of, yeah. Or when Sage tells Summer, like, when he just tells her that he has her, like,
Mhm.
I just, yeah. Anything that Sage says to Ornella really is.
Yeah, that's so fair. I went with this one because, and I said earlier, like one of my favorite things is that they're not stuck in their past or their trauma. So my favorite quote is, "I may be broken, but my edges are sharp, and I will not hesitate to cut you with them."
Yes.
Like it just speaks to like, yeah, I'm hurt, but like I'll hurt you more. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole scene with her and Rian where she's telling him, like, whatever you give me, I'm going to give you back. Like, if
Yeah.
you hurt me, I will hurt people you love. Like, she's just, she's unapologetic. Like,
She is.
yeah.
Wait, so back all the way to the beginning when you were saying that there are two sides going on and they're caught on either side of the war. Who are the characters on either side of the war? Because now I kind of heard all the names.
So there is Amira, who is a fire witch. She's from our world. And then there's Ornella, who is a summer dryad. And she left her court, the summer court, and she lived in the Vale, which is where the Griffins are. But then she, in order to protect Amira, she kind of diverted the wild hunt and ended up being captured by them. And then she gets taken to Autumn Court, which is against her nature. So, like, even her magic feels different in this court. But she, there's found family and she finds her mate and all of that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
It's so
sold.
good. You got to read it.
I'm sold. I need to actually. We didn't talk. We can end with what we're reading
Yeah.
since we didn't start with it. I have issues with reading multiple books at a time. I really need to knock it off.
Reading.
It's really not great. Like currently, right now, we've got a good 4 or 5 going right now. It's a little ridiculous.
But when you said
So-
the page count before was like 700, it did not feel that long. Like I feel like I blew through it. But I am a quick reader, so maybe that's just why. But like I did not feel like I was in that book very long. I felt like I wanted more still. If that
Cassie
makes-
listens to audiobooks on 2.5 speed.
I mean, but
you-
yeah,
You're saying about my book didn't feel that
Yeah.
long?
Mhm.
yeah,
I
I
think
did
that's
not feel.
I
Yeah.
have heard that before. I think people get intimidated when they look at it,
Mhm.
but it's not like, I don't think it's heavy reading. Like, it's fairly straightforward. Aside from the Gaelic words, which,
Yeah,
yes,
I
are
don't even pretend that I pronounced those right in my head. Like, thank God none of them came up.
I loved. So I'm not sure, Becca, if you're aware, but the book was made into the first two were picked up by Podium, and so they have an audiobook, and they're read by Anthony Palmini and Nikki Gray. So
Oh,
hearing them pronounce some of these words, like, I actually had to send in an audio to tell them how to pronounce it to make sure that it was all correct, and it was just really interesting, like, hearing these.
that's really cool. They got picked up.
Yeah.
And that happened for you. That's awesome.
That was kind of a dream come true, really.
Yeah.
What is your, out of all the books you've wrote, what is your most successful?
I'd say this series, Heart of
Okay.
the Tithriall, so far.
Okay.
It's a good time for fantasy too, I feel like.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, it goes up and down. When I go to book events, like where I'm selling, I do sell pretty much like half and half, really.
That's
Like,
nice. Okay.
yeah, so I do sell lots, but I think online it tends to be more the fantasy. Yeah.
Fantasy's just like huge right now. Like that's
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what are you reading right now outside of being a writer? What are you reading?
So I just got finished reading Fate Inked in Blood. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read the first one. It was okay.
Okay.
I really, really liked the second one.
Okay.
I think it's Carved in Bone. Loved it. Loved that one. And then right now, me and my husband are listening to the 5th season.
Yes.
Yes, you mentioned that earlier. I wasn't sure if
And
you were
I can't-
physically reading.
I can't remember who the author is, but that is I'm really enjoying that book. It's like,
Put the book up somewhere when we
Yeah.
edit.
thank you. I'm really enjoying it. It's like a post-apocalyptic
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It's totally different than anything I've ever read before. And the style of writing is different. Like there's 3 different characters, and one of them is you walk down the road, you look at XYZ, and the other ones are all in like third person, which is really different. And I'm pretty sure they're all the same character, just in different stages of her life. But I kept
Interesting.
forgetting it. So anyway, really good. I'm really enjoying
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah.
I
I
like
love
that.
that. Cassie, what are you reading right now?
I'm reading an arc.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know who Larry David is, but he's the
The
creator
name
of
sounds
Seinfeld.
really familiar.
He's the co-creator of Seinfeld. He has his own show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and then he literally it just ended, did a show called Life, Larry and the Pursuit of Unhappiness, which is like a comedic skit show based on different parts of history, American history. I love him. So I'm reading his first official memoir as like an arc.
Fun.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And that's a very different genre than I would have, I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, I dabble everywhere. So I think that's why I've been able to Becca went really hard on romantasy last year. So she's hit an
You're
end, but I really do spread out everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hit you with a non-expected read. So right now I'm reading a book called Cleo Dang Would Rather Be Dead. It's a little depressing, but it's absolutely outstandingly done. So it is a book about 2 best friends who have been friends for a very long time, since childhood. They live next door to each other. Their lives are very integrated. I used the wrong word there. I don't really know what I was going for. But they both get pregnant at the same time. And so they're enthralled and enthused and all the things. And then unfortunately, the main character has a stillbirth. Her daughter dies in birth. And so it's about her navigating the grief and her best friend having a baby, literally a couple days before she went in and had the stillbirth. So everybody says oh my God, why are you reading that? That's so depressing. Well, a little bit of I had a pregnancy loss. So I really enjoy reading things like this because I want to see how they're done. And this is very well done. I would recommend it to anybody. I think on a grief level, and then also just a losing a child level, it's very well done. So yeah, I'm reading that. My friends think I read depressing books, and I do, but I like them.
They can help you sometimes process.
Yeah.
Right? Because you watch another character go through it and it helps you find ways within yourself to deal with it as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I'm reading this character and I'm yeah, I felt exactly like that. And then other times I'm yeah, I didn't feel that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll say, I know somebody that felt that way, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's just so interesting to find pieces of yourself and other people in a book. I mean, that's why we read,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main one that I'm reading. I won't talk about my 10 million other ones. Well, I guess I did mention that I started The Stolen Heir.
Yeah.
And other than that, the other ones I'm not really even that far. Disney Adults has been one that I
for a year, I feel like.
I very much have become a Kindle reader. And some books, more of the nonfiction real books, I often read physical copies and I dabble whenever I'm feeling and I want to read it. So that's why it's taken me a long time. I've been sitting at 40% for a good couple months now.
I feel, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm very much a mood reader as well. So I could be halfway through a book and then it's not even that I don't want to read the book. It's just I'm not feeling it right now. And I will set it aside and then come back to it later or not.
See, you're better than me. I don't come back to it. If I start to read something and I get a good, I would say the bare minimum is 10, 12%. If I get into it and I'm I'm not feeling this, I'm done.
So the way that I think of it maybe is biased because I'm an author, right? So I would rather
sense.
If somebody was reading my book and they for whatever reason weren't feeling it, I would rather they just put it down and not read it poorly because they weren't feeling it at the moment, right? So that's how I think of it. I think of it I'm just going to put it down so that I can give this author and their work it's fair due. In the mood to read this book. And then I may or may not come back to it. It just depends on how into the story I was. But the initial put down is always the hardest because you feel there's guilt and you're also I don't like DNFing a book, but I will do it because my time is valuable and I don't want to waste it with a book.
Life is too short to read a book that you don't want to read.
Yes.
For whatever reason. I felt a lot of guilt recently. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't rate books that I don't finish.
I don't either.
The book wasn't for me. And again, that's just because I'm an author and You know what I mean? Like,
I don't
only
either.
do when I have like a strong feeling. Like I only DNF'd my first book in 2026. I refused. Like I wouldn't do it. I just felt so guilty.
yeah.
But like when I read, for example, Jeanette McCurdy's newest one, Half His Age, like
You
it
DNF'd
just
that one.
made me uncomfortable. So
Yeah,
like,
I would say there's a difference if the material is problematic. Then
yes,
that needs to be shared because people need to be aware of that before going into it.
exactly.
But if I just don't like the story, but I can see that
Mhm.
other people do, I don't want to shit on people's parade. So I'll just
No, I
not.
agree.
You know what I mean?
Don't yuck people's yum.
Yeah. And there's lots of books and lots of different people that enjoy different books. So I'm not
Mhm.
gonna, I'm not
I
gonna read
think
something poorly just because it wasn't for me.
I
No,
think
I
the
agree
most
with that.
guilty that I felt was I had read all of Emily Henry's books, and I was the last one I was on was Beach Read, and I DNF'd it. I was like, this character is driving me nuts. We're whining. I'm done. So I felt really guilty because I loved all of her other books, and flew through them, and this one was just not it. And I
Not
was like,
at
that's
all.
a bummer, but it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
So
And like, there's so many reasons that it could be the character, it could be this, it could also be the part that the point that the author is in their life, right? Like maybe
Mhm.
something's going on and they're writing differently. Like there's so many different possibilities for it.
Yeah. No, one I really liked, like you said, it just wasn't the right time for me. It wasn't piquing my interest enough at the time, but it's one I do want to go back to is Thursday Murder Club with the little old people at the retirement home solving like cold cases.
Oh my gosh.
It's
That sounds,
adorable, but I just like wasn't in the mood for it at the time.
yeah. I think you'll like The Butcher and Blackbird.
Okay.
If you read that, I think you'll like.
All right.
that sounds
It's
right up
been on
Cassie's
my
alley.
radar. It's been on my radar and I just haven't committed yet.
Yeah. No, it's
All right.
I recommend it.
Okay, I
You
have to do
like
it.
it is ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous, but it's in a good way. Like it's funny. It made me laugh. So
Okay.
enjoyed
I
it.
love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with us today and doing
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. This is such an honor. This is my first podcast, by the way. I've never been on
Yay.
before. So
Well, we have our 60 loyal subscriber.
62, actually.
you've still set the bar really high though. So
Yeah, no, we really just enjoy like being able to casually chat with authors and like hear a little piece of your world and why you love reading. So it's a great community to be in. We're lucky. So
absolutely.
Do you want to shout out your social media, anywhere people can find your work, things like that, so our listeners can find it?
So I would say my website has signed books available, so you can go there. It's www.authorAAGordon.com. I'm also on Instagram, YouTube, on TikTok, and I'm on Facebook too. It's author AA Gordon. Yeah. And you can always message
definitely
me.
put the website in the show notes. I have not figured out how to do Instagrams yet into show notes, but
Yeah.
I'll work on it. Definitely the website.
also like if we can't put it in the show notes, we will most likely we post about our
We'll tag
episodes
you,
and things.
yeah.
So we'll tag your socials
sure.
and things like that.
Yeah. That sounds good.
So, well, I'll do our sign off, Cassie. Well, yes, one last thank you so much. We really enjoyed this conversation. And with that, I can't even remember what I'm supposed to say.
Stay cunning, stay brave.
Oh, there it is.
Remember, you are your own high lady.
I'm gonna let you handle that one today. That was great.
All right.